Happy holidays, everybody. My name's Lucy Keller. My family and I are corn and soybean farmers from East Central Indiana. We've been farming in Delaware County for over 100 years. And I'm very excited to share with you one of my family's most treasured holiday traditions, making bourbon eggnog. It's something that we look forward to every holiday season. And I hope that you will enjoy this process of learning how to make bourbon eggnog yourself. And when I say a process, I mean it is a process. So you probably want to go grab your comfy shoes and get yourself ready to learn all about this wonderful experience. It's going to take a little while, but it will be totally worth it. You will love having this amazing eggnog to share with your friends and family and tell them you learned a new recipe. So, let's get started. The ingredients you will need to make this wonderful holiday treat are 1 dozen eggs, 1 quart heavy whipping cream, 4 cups sugar, half a pint of bourbon, and 1 quart of milk. Step 1 in your eggnog making process is to separate a dozen eggs. The eggnog process will take you quite a long time, but this happens to be the step that takes the longest. So get prepared to stand here for a while. I have always been taught to use the shell method in separating my eggs, but I know a lot of people like to use a quicker, faster method that has a tendency to keep the shells out of your yolks and your whites, is to use a slotted spoon. I just kind of like the other methods better. You give it a try on whatever method you like. So what you do is you give it a nice little crack. You open it up and be very careful not to lose any of your shell. Separate your whites, throw your yolk in another container. So the bowls here are a key part. As you are going to go through this process, you're going to be folding a lot of things into other materials. We need to make sure that your whites bowl is big enough to have all of your yolks folded into them, and you will add sugar and bourbon into the yolks. So you need to make sure that your whites bowl is big enough. I use our mixer bowl because it's faster in mixing up the process. So now we got to get to it. 11 more to go. Okay, now that we have separated our dozen eggs, step 2 is to whisk our egg whites until they are stiff. You can use an electric mixer, a hand whisk, which this is going to be a heck of a workout, but you can use any mixing apparatus that you want. The goal of mixing it up until it's stiff means when you pull the whisk out, the peak is like a little mountain peak that follows you and it stays there. That's the consistency that you're looking for in preparation for folding in the rest of your ingredients into the whites. So I like to take any excuse I can to use my KitchenAid mixer. And it also gives us a chance to put it in the mixer, turn it on, and let it do the work for us so we can move on to step 3. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in, and we're going to talk about step 3, which is the whipping cream. Now it's time to make whipped cream. Whipped cream is the base for our eggnog. It makes everything smooth and rich and creamy. And it's very simple. If you've never made whipped cream before, it's very easy to make. You take heavy whipping cream and sugar and mix it together. All you need for our recipe is 1 quart, which is 32 ounces, of heavy whipping cream. This is not a diet drink, so this is full on calories. And 2 cups of sugar. 1 quart, 2 cups. What we're going to do is we're going to take our heavy whipping cream and pour it into our largest bowl. This is extremely important. The cream goes into the biggest bowl because everything will be folded into the cream. Once you have your egg yolks prepared and folded into your whites, all of that will be folded into your cream. So you need to make sure that you have your largest bowl for this process. So I'm going to pour my heavy whipping cream into the bowl and then take my electric mixer and start to whisk it. It's slowly going to start to rise and start to fluff. You're looking for a good fluff. As you do that, you want to slowly mix in your sugar. Don't pour it in all at once. Slowly fold it in so you don't lose that good air that you're building in your mixing process. Once you've put all of your sugar into your cream, and as you're mixing, you notice that it starts to really get a good solid feel to it, pull your mixers out, and if you get that beautiful peak like you were looking for on your egg whites, you know the consistency is ready. You know that your whipping cream is as perfect as it needs to be to make the best eggnog. So once we do that, we set it aside and we go back to our eggs. When you are done whipping your cream, you will notice it will have this full, amazing, beautiful, thick consistency. As you are whipping it, it will develop some ridges. And you'll also notice that the cream on your beaters isn't going anywhere. It's a good, solid, wonderful consistency. And every good chef should give it a try. It's tasty. Now that we've established our base by whipping up our egg whites and whipping up our heavy whipping cream, it is time for my favorite part of the eggnog. I feel like this is the heart and soul of the eggnog. It is when we get to add the spirit to it. Now, everybody asks me, why in the world do I choose to put bourbon instead of rum in my eggnog? Every other eggnog that I have ever consumed always has rum in it. Well, this is a family recipe that has been passed down for generations. My family happens to be from Kentucky. So, as a good Kentuckian, we figure out ways to put bourbon in just about everything. Well, I'm a born and bred Indiana Hoosier. So, as a not only Indiana Hoosier, but a corn farmer, I have found a way to support my fellow farmers and found a wonderful Indiana bourbon that supports our corn farmers here in the state of Indiana. Hotel Tango uses Indiana corn in their distillery process and creates this amazing flavorful bourbon. That's what I'm going to choose today to put in the eggnog. So, the recipe calls for half a pint of bourbon and 2 more cups of sugar. Like I said, this is not a low-calorie beverage, but it is totally worth it. Now, the recipe does call for half a pint of bourbon, but my recipe always says let's use a little bit more. So I always give it an extra splash or more to flavor it up. Please add it to your taste level. What we're going to do again is take our electric mixer and start with our egg yolks. You're going to whip up your egg yolks and slowly add in your sugar and your bourbon as you go. The next phase, once we have all of these ingredients combined into your egg yolks, we're ready to start the folding process. And we're going to be doing a lot of folding. Now it's time to marry our ingredients together. And to do so, we have to fold all of those ingredients into each other. What do I mean when I say fold? Well, the goal of folding the ingredients together is to add them without reducing any of the fluff or air that is currently in them. So as you notice, our egg whites are very meringue-esque. They're very fluffy. They're very airy. We want to make sure that when we take our yolks and add those to our egg whites, we don't lose that fluff, that airiness. The way to do that is to slowly pour the egg yolks into the egg whites. Slow is the key. Once you have that fully combined, you let it kind of set for a little bit, and then we are going to add that into our cream consistency. Yet again, our goal is slow and steady. Trust me, when I tell you this process is totally worth it, when you get that beautiful crisp nog taste, you're gonna love every minute of all the time you put into making this stuff happen. But our steps are very clear and we need to follow them. So egg yolks into egg whites. Once you combine the eggs back together, then we put them into our cream. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to put my egg whites back on my KitchenAid mixer, and then I'm gonna slowly pour in my yolks. You wanna make sure you take your spatula and scrape the sides of your bowl. The goal is to incorporate all of your egg whites into this mixture as you go. We'll touch base again when we have that combined. Now that we have combined our eggs, we are going to fold it into our wonderful whipping cream. We're going to use the same process we used before, which is to slowly pour in our mixture and scrape the sides of the bowl to make sure that you have a good consistency. Remember, slow is key. It will be a little thick, but don't worry, we have a wonderful ingredient that all dairy farmers love coming that will thin it out and make it the perfect consistency for drinking. I'm going to be using my electric mixer to make this process happen. Get your spatula ready and take your time. Now that we have completed our folding process, we have a beautiful, thick, wonderfully boozy smelling mixture. Before we add in our milk to thin things out, it's the perfect opportunity to taste test. Find out how thick the mixture is, how boozy it is, to know how much milk you want to add, how much thinning does it need. How much diluting does it need? We have prepared a quart of milk to go in your mixture. I start with about a half a quart and then taste it again to make sure I'm getting that perfect balanced consistency. And every time I make eggnog, it's just a little bit different. So have your milk ready, be prepared to taste. And it's something that I do enjoy tasting along the way. And find your balance. Find where you want to be. So what I'm going to do is start with a half a quart of milk, combine that with my electric mixer, and then I'm going to stop again and give it a nice taste. Don't forget to scrape the sides of your bowl with your spatula. I think now's a good time to taste it, to see how my consistency is, to see if it might need just a smidge more milk. I think a little bit more milk, and then it'll be ready to pour into its jars. Now that our eggnog is at its perfect consistency and ready to be consumed, you may ask, what am I going to do with this giant bowl of holiday cheer? Well, you can put it in a pitcher and put it in your refrigerator for up to 2 weeks. If you think, golly, I don't think I can consume all of this all by myself, well, my husband and I like to find these amazing ball jars, and we fill them and we share these as Christmas gifts with our friends, family, and our colleagues. You would not believe how long the list is of everybody who wants them now. It's become a great holiday tradition and a way for us to give back to those that we love and care about. So, we hope that you have enjoyed learning how to make a family tradition of mine, and we hope it becomes a family tradition of yours. From my home to yours, we wish you a happy holiday and a happy new year.